Sharing my screen. And okay. The screen should be shared now. I think everybody can see. Recording has also been started, so we can go ahead and get started for today's session. All right, so welcome again, everybody. Thank you for joining our webinars as always. And for those of you who are tuning in after, really appreciate you taking the time to follow up with the sessions and follow along. So today we'll actually be going over some of the more advanced features of SmartTerm because we'll be covering assignment creation. Now, this is particularly important for teachers. So keep in mind that what you learn here, we can take away some of this to actually help drive our teachers using the system. Of course, before we get there, just a quick reminder, right now we're all pushing together to get all the schools up and running for taking attendance. I'm going to point out my attendance tracker as always. If you haven't had a chance to come in and just get this up to speed with wherever you're falling in the process, please do. The Ministry of Education is actually going out and visiting schools and engaging with the schools. So it helps if they know where you guys are at, because then they can kind of tailor where they provide support and advice and everything. Good news is we have more schools every day filling out these trackers, right? And this is great for us because, like I said, it allows us to get a good gauge of where things are taking time, where issues are happening. Of course, one thing I wanted to remind everybody, I probably haven't done this. I don't think I've done it much, if at all, but I definitely have not done it enough. What we're doing here is laying the groundwork for years to come, right? The way the SmartTerm system is, once this initial legwork is done to really establish the schools and understand the framework, subsequent school year, subsequent terms get way easier, right? Assuming you get through all these processes as planned, then, you know, next term, your student lists, your teachers in the classrooms and subjects, they probably won't fluctuate much. They won't change much. So next term, you'll simply be creating the new term will be created. You'll be using the import feature and literally just copy everything over pretty much as is, right? Classroom subjects, students into classroom, student into subjects, all of those will be done with a click of a button. So you won't have to sit down and change teachers. You won't have to sit down and add students in, because most of that will come out the box, right? You're going from one term to the next. And then in a subsequent school year, you're still not going to have to do things like assigning teachers to classrooms and subjects across the board, because chances are year over year, the school won't change a lot, right? You may have a teacher leave or a new teacher come in. You may have one new classroom created or one, a subject change around and different teachers get assigned. But those will be relatively few, whereas the majority of what you need for your school will stay relatively static, so as to speak, right? So in subsequent school years, you'll still be importing from the previous term. You still have to do promotions because students are moving forward a year, but some of the work will still be done and things will become easier to do and you'll get used to it. So it will feel a lot easier. So, we're getting through the hardest part right now, that initial hurdle of a new system. So I'm really excited to see all the progress so far. I want to big up everybody. I know all schools are very engaged in the chat. Y'all are helping each other. We have people bringing things up and we're tackling the issues as they come up. We're tackling requests as they come up. Of course, there's, just a few people who haven't gotten a response that they wanted yet. And that's the situation, very specific situation where your data still isn't in the system yet, right? But even those we're eliminating. I think about 6 or 7 schools got welcome emails yesterday. We're knocking them out. And I urge you again, if you haven't submitted your data to the ministry, please do. If you're not sure if they got your data or not, just reach out to Dixon. She'll tell you, right? She has her own list. She knows where the data is, and she can quickly check and confirm. All right. So with all that being said, and I saw a couple people jump onto the sheet just a while ago while I was speaking. So I guess some of our audience is coming in and updating their stuff. Let's push together. Let's get to the point where at least column L is done across your school, because then it's just a matter of getting your teachers to log in. And like we said, we have some teachers actually getting, we have one school actually doing pretty much ambassadors are seeing attendance summary. So shout out to Caldo. You guys are doing well, you know, and we actually, I think you guys start, we got, it took us a while to get that data in and stuff. So um, you caught up really, and the new prospect seems to be seeing us attendance summary too. It's okay if not all the teachers are in, maybe there's a transfer teacher that needs to get put in and whatnot. But the idea is once you have the process down, your teachers are getting their attendance in, then that's a huge win, because we're getting to the point now where you'll be able to, eliminate a lot of processes that had to be done before. Before you had to prepare your attendance summaries maybe and do some kind of report and send off the ministry. I know over in some of our other Caribbean islands, I don't know if this is done in St. Vincent or not, but they have these physical books that have to be up tick, down tick, and then somebody has to sit down and count all the strokes and put the numbers, and then somebody from the ministry comes in and picks it up, and the books physically have to be transported over. It's just a lot of headache. We're going to eliminate a lot of those things. So I'm excited for that, right? Very, very excited, and shout out to the schools that are progressing forward here. As a new prospect also was pretty far along. We have, St. Joseph's, very excited to see all of this. And we're going to work together to get you guys up to speed. And of course, once you're there, then we can look at the next steps, which we've been doing sessions for this week. So we talked a little bit about report configuration. I will have to re-record that video. So I'm going to do that because I'm doing these webinars every day. I will do that. I think Friday I'll have some time, and I'll just sit down and re-record the video for configuring reports, and I'll send that off. If not, then over the weekend that'll be done and sent off, and you can follow along with all the other webinars, the recording. God willing, everything will be good today too, and so the recordings will be sent off. All right. So let's go quickly through assignment creation. Of course, everything we're doing today presumes certain steps have been completed for your school. So of course, if you don't have your data in the system and you haven't been able to log in yet, then you're watching along will get you up to speed, through the other webinars and through any other tools that, not tools, sorry, any other videos that you might need to see. We'll get everybody up to speed there in terms of being caught up once you get your data in. And then for the rest of you, if you've gotten your welcome email, you've logged into the system, then really and truly the next steps for you are just to follow along with the webinars, get your term set up, get your classes set up, teachers assigned to the classes correctly, students in the classrooms and the subjects. Once you're at that point, once each teacher knows exactly what their classroom and what their subjects, student population and everything is, and they're taking attendance, that means that they're in a good position to start actually creating assignments. The only other caveat, of course, is that the school, like we mentioned yesterday with some of the configuration stuff with the grade books, and 2 days ago with the reports configurations, each school is unique in how they operate. So there may be a couple configurations here or there that you might have to do. You can follow along with the videos and do that. The final goal really here is end of term, to be able to generate your reports through the SmartTerm, and they go out to all the students and the parents, and everybody just logs in and they tackle that, right? So assuming everything is set up, you are a teacher in your school, you want to be able to actually now start creating assignments in SmartTerm. Well, there's a couple ways to do that, right? So we come here to this subjects tab, and I'm actually going to at some point log out of my trainer portal and log back in. I'll I'll log back in as a teacher so you can see a little bit of what the teacher view looks like, because this is an admin view and there is a couple subtle differences there, right? So if you're a teacher and you come to the subjects module, you won't see this comprehensive list of subjects. This is the administrative view. For the ambassadors, because you have the role for admins, your subjects module also looks like this, where you have all the subjects, you can add new subjects. If you're a teacher, your subjects module will look something like this. You'll have the tiles with the subjects that you teach, nothing else, right? And so I'll show that momentarily. But coming in from an admin view, we can go into any subject and we'll see that the subjects have this classwork tab. Now, a quick side note, we also have this discussions tab, right? And I mentioned before that in SmartTerm, each classroom has its own discussion board and each subject has its own discussion board. And so now we can speak a little bit to what the discussion boards do. Although they're not assignments, they're another way to engage your students. And the discussions board is really just a place for you to be able to engage and share content with your students without having to create an assignment that will be graded, right? You click on the discussions tab, you'll see here it will post things almost similarly to a wall or the feed on Facebook. However, each classroom and each subject gets its own discussions board. So you now have the ability to fine tune these discussion boards to really focus on, you know, the specific content. So for our classroom, you may want to post things that are general to the class and not tied to any specific subject. As you can see here, I was able to actually embed a YouTube video right into my discussion. And so my students would log into the system. Any student in this classroom would log in, they would see the discussion here, and they could actually like it and they can comment under it. And you're able to see that. And it's just another way for you to, you know, engage your students, right? Nothing that's assessed. There are other things like a photo wall here, so you can upload some photos if you wanted to. And there's a tab for resources where you can add any other resources. Now, just because of how we're pushing forward, of course, initially we want to get attendance in the system. And the next thing is we want to work towards that end of term report. I'm focusing specifically on assignment creation today. But what we'll do in the subsequent sessions that we have, I don't know if I have actually scheduled out for this. Yeah, actually tomorrow's session, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into the classrooms module and the subjects module to talk a little bit about some of these discussion boards and resource places. And we actually have an AI-based lesson planner that I'll also walk through, right? So today we're laser focused because we're looking at assignment creation. And like I said, the reason we're looking at that specifically and that first is because the intention there is how do we get to the point of report generation, right? And for reports, you have to get the assignments and you have to get the grades in. Okay, yesterday when we spoke about the grade book, we talked quickly towards, you know, creating a quick assignment, and we spoke a little bit about the category breakdowns and the strands. So I'm going to assume all of that is set up here already for today's session, right? Let's go into the subject. We'll do English grade 1A, and we have this classwork tab. So the classwork tab is where you create all your assignments. Now, if you're logged in as a teacher, you actually have a classwork module as well, and you'll see that, and that will allow you to just quickly create an assignment or to see an assignment. We'll go to a teacher view after, and I'll show that. But from the subjects module, once you're in your subject, you can always create classwork. There's an action button on the right, and you have buttons here to create a task. A task is just not graded. You know, it doesn't count towards the average of the student. It's not graded. It's still got all the functionality. So if you ever decided, hey, I want to create something, my students to do it and submit it, but I don't really want it to count towards the grade, you create a task. Assignments count towards coursework. So anything that goes towards the term grade in your case, you'll do as an assignment. Now there is a create test button here, but I wanted to make a quick distinction. Yesterday when we spoke, or 2 days ago also when we spoke about the reports configuration, I mentioned that for the case of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, all term grade, like the term grade is usually a composite of like the test and maybe homework and classwork assignment. So you actually won't be using the create test button. The create test button is there if you wanted to create a test and it's a standalone component of the overall grade that is not, like if your reports, for example, had a term coursework column, term test column, and then a term final exam column, right? In your case, most schools only tend to have two columns, a term grade, right? So that's a coursework grade, and an exam grade. So in that case, you wouldn't be using this. You can create it as tests in the assignment tab. And when you create your grade profiles, you can just create an assignment profile in there. So once again, you just click edit on the subject and assignment profile. You could create an assignment profile and call it test for any midterm tests or anything like that you want, right? So that could be like 50%, and then this could be 20, right? So something like that. And so once you created an assignment that was a test that's counting towards the term grade, you would just choose that in the assignment category, right? Hopefully that was clear. And if not, we can always clarify our chat. So you come to the actions button, you go to create assignment, and you click that. Now, once you click that, you have the ability to choose who the assignment is for. We have an option for it to be for all students in that specific subject. So in this case, English, right? Or we could do select students. I actually met with one of the special needs schools briefly earlier today. And, a part of the conversation was, well, we have a classroom that's a certain level, right? And that level may have a mix of students from grade 1 and grade 2, right? So when we create assignments, we adjust the assignments for grade 1 versus grade 2, even though they do class together and their subject is together and all that, so they didn't need a separate subject. Well, in that case, you'd want differentiated assignments, right? You'd want to create one assignment that goes to a subgroup of the students and another assignment that goes to a different subgroup of the students. That's only if you wanted to do differentiated assessment. Generally speaking, the assignments are for all students. So if you're a teacher, you're coming into the system, you're just creating an assignment for all students. Now, we spoke a little bit to the level of the assignments yesterday, meaning how you use SmartTerm, right? The engagement. And there's sort of 3 tiers to it, or levels, right? The first is you're using SmartTerm just to capture a grade, right? You're teaching in school, maybe you wrote your assignment on the chalkboard, right? The students came in, sat at the desk, looked at the chalkboard, had a piece of paper, put their answers on the piece of paper, submitted that piece of paper to you. You got the physical piece of paper, you grade it, right? And you just want to record the grade somewhere. Right now, you're using a physical grade book, and then you give them back the recorded grade. In that case, you're not really using SmartTerm to do the assignments per se, you're just using SmartTerm to capture a grade. So that's the simplest tier. The next tier is if you still giving an assignment to the student for them to maybe download off of SmartTerm, maybe they handwrite their response, and maybe they hand it into you physically in class, or maybe they upload it in class, right? But it's still a document. That's sort of level 2. And then level 3 in all of this is that you create an assignment in SmartTerm that has multiple choice questions and it's auto-graded, right? And so the system will auto-grade it. You build out the questions. That's a little bit of work just the first time, because the first time you do it for any assignment, you have to create the assignments in the system. But after that, you can add it to a resource bank. And once it's in the classwork or resource bank, you get to next school year, let's say, it's English, I don't know, vocabulary assignment, right? And actually, let's say it's a poetry assignment and you're doing a poem by Edgar Allan Poe and you created some multiple choice questions about the poem, right? Well, you set the questions, you set the assignment, so you put you say read the poem and then the assignment will have questions based on it. You set the assignment, you put all the questions in and you put the points and tally it all up. You do that the first time and then you add it to the resource bank. Come next school year, you're teaching the same class just to a different batch of students. You go back over to the research portal and you just pull the assignment from the classwork bank, right? It's just 2 clicks and then it's back in your subject this year. And if you want it at that point, you can adjust the questions, you can tweak things a little bit, or you can just repost it as is. So the work is basically done for you. All you're doing at the start of the term is assigning things from your resource bank and making little tweaks here and there if you really wanted to. Maybe you realize, I don't like the wording of this question. It was a little unclear to the students. Let me just reword it. And you make those little tweaks and then you just submit it. In fact, with the assignment builder, when you're creating the assignments, you can set the date that it becomes available to the students and you can set the time when it's due. So at the start of a school year or at the start of the term, you could set all the assignments for the term if you wanted. If you're, different teachers operate differently. If you're the kind that wants to have it all planned out, you set all the assignments in the first week of school or so, right? And you set the times and everything, and then that's it. They will become available through the system. The students can do them, and then they will close once the deadline time has passed, right? So those are the levels that we have to the system. And I'm going to illustrate those now. So starting with my first level here, we just want a placeholder assignment. We did this yesterday as well when we were talking about the grade books, but I'll just rehash it for the purposes of everybody seeing it. We'll come to the assignment builder. We'll choose who the assignment is for. So in this case, I say all students, and I choose the essay questions, right? And I give it a title. Let me say class work 2, right? And then let's say it's out of 30 points. And I'm just doing straight to published because this is just going to be holding the grade there. You see, I just created that test type and the test type is there too, and that will handle the weight, so as to speak. And then it's a poetry assignment. And I gave it in class, so I don't care about the details here, which we'll come to shortly. And I just hit create. And the assignment's created, right? I can come in here and I can add the grades in here if I wanted to, or I can do it from the grade book, right? So let's go to grade book, English 1A, classwork 2 that I created is there. The 2 grades are recorded are there. So I have flexibility in how I do it. So that's really just level 1. That was just a rehash based on, what we had shown yesterday as well. Now let's step it up a notch. Let's say it's a situation, and I'm going to have to download a PDF for this. English assignment PDF. For grade. I think my grade is grade 1, right? So I'm just going to download this PDF real quick. If I can find it. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so this is English assignment. Let me just save it as, let's do desktop. It's already has a decently descriptive name and I saved it, right? Save the assignment. And let's say that's my assignment. I did a Word doc or whatever. And I want to just add that in. So once again, I navigate to the subject, I go to the classwork module, I go to actions, and I go to create assignment, right? I say this assignment is for everybody. I say questions, and I call this classwork 3. Let's say it's out of 50 points. In this case, I'm leaving it as draft because I'm still going to be working on it for a bit. And I say, okay, it is a classwork for, I can't remember what the area would have been. Let's just call it creative writing. Then I set the due date. So I set this assignment to be due. We're in September. We're on the 20th. So let's say it's due on the 25th. And I set my time that it's due. So let's say 3 p.m. on September 25th. This is due, right? So I've set my due date. I've set my assignment. It's in draft, so my students don't see it yet. When I'm ready for students to see it, I just change that to publish. Or I come here and I set an auto publishing date, right? And so what that will do is it will, like, let's say we're that teacher that wants to set all the assignments for the term ahead. I could just come here and I could say, okay, this assignment is a classwork assignment that's due at 3 p.m. on September 25th. So I want to make it available to the students once again on September 25th at, that's it, 1 p.m. Right? What this will do is this assignment will remain in draft mode until September 25th at 1 p.m., at which point it will be made available to the students. I can give them a quick heads up. Hey guys, we'll have an assignment to do in class 1 p.m. Or I don't have to. We can allow for a notification to be sent, right? I'd say just to be safe, you can just give them a reminder. Let's say you're scheduling a test ahead of time or something, get them a heads up, right? So I have the option here to notify the students. That's going to notify them once it's made available from being auto-published. I have an option to allow late submission. So I can turn that off and then nobody can do a late submission, right? Or I can turn it on and then a student can submit after the due time, but it will be flagged as late. I want to include it on the report card. And let's say I want to add this to my classwork bank because I'll probably reuse this towards the, as an assignment next year as well. Now I have the option to hide score from the students, right? And really what that means is while you're in the process of grading it, it won't affect, the averages. This is particularly important for the multiple choice assignments because in the multiple choice assignments, the students do the auto-graded part, it would show what their grade is up until this point. But there may be non-auto-graded components to the assignment, which I'll show you shortly, where you have to then go in and grade those pieces. So you have like 10 multiple choice questions and then 2 long answer questions. And you have to go and grade the 2 long answer questions, but the multiple choice questions get auto-graded, right? You can hide the score. So the students don't see the score until you're ready to make the score available to them, until you're done grading, right? So that's really just it. It won't count towards the grade. It's really up to different teachers have different styles, right? A teacher may decide, you know what? I want the student to see their grade. So even though they submitted their assignment and everything, since I don't grade it yet, if they got a 0, this is what their grade would be in this subject, right? Alternatively, you might be the type of teacher who says, no, man, until I don't grade it, I don't want it to be available. Okay, so I'll answer the questions. I saw a question come in, and I'll answer that. I'll answer the questions after. I think that's the best way. But let me just move this up a second. Yeah, the question was blocking my screen. All right. So that's what the hide score is for. Totally up to you whether you want it on or off. It depends on your teaching style. All right. So I want to upload the file. The reason I want to upload the file is that when the students see the assignment, I want that question sheet to be there. So I click upload file. Oh, whoops. I created the assignment by accident. Let me go to settings here. I go to upload file and choose the file that I just downloaded. So desktop, and I open it and I click done, and my file is in there. And I can add some quick instructions. Hi students, please see the attached assignment. You may download the assignment and fill it out to be submitted in class at the due date, or before the due date, I should say. All right. I should have made this a homework assignment because the logic would flow a little better, but yeah. So that's there, right? And I click save. So I've saved the settings. The assignment would be created. And just to quickly show you guys, when I create the assignments, I see the assignments pop up in my tab. So classwork tab in the subject, I scroll down, see all the assignments here. So the classwork 3 that I just created is here, right? If I look at the instructions, we have that file there. So the student, when they log in, they can download the file, and they will be able to fill out their answers in pencil and submit it to you in pencil, and then you can grade it and you can add in the grades here, right? Or from the gradebook module, whichever you prefer, right? Because we're allowed, oh yeah, I don't have any scores in here. So let's say I scored 25, 3943. Right? So I have my scores in here. And then if I went to my grade book, I would see my scores in there. Now, that's a situation where I gave an assignment and the students physically handed something into me, right? But the students may actually also want to upload their response, and that's also covered in this use case. So when I created this assignment here, right, what happened is that the assignment's not published yet, but I can go here. Let me turn off auto publishing. Let me go to the status here. Let me publish. Okay, so it's published now. All right. And let me go ahead and click save. All right. I will have to, let me see if I can log in as a student. We'll do that after. I'll log in as a student after, and I'll show you how the assignments can look from a student's perspective. Right. But I went ahead and I created the assignment. I uploaded a doc, and so the student is like, all the files are there, the due date is there, and all of that is set. If the student had submitted a response, right, as an upload, so rather than printing the document and giving it back, they downloaded the document or took a picture of it. Let's say they couldn't come to school and they took a picture of the assignment. They came here and they uploaded it, assuming you allowed them to upload a digital copy. Their uploads would show up in here from the teachers portal. When you went to the grades tab, you just have to hit start grading, and you would see the uploads that the student made, right? And you can do little things like you can, if you have stickers that you want to give them, like a good job sticker or something like an emoji, you can add a sticker there. You can add some feedback. So if you wanted to upload a file with like detailed feedback about their responses, you can do that. And if you wanted to make a quick comment, right, then you could make a quick comment as well. So you have a couple of different things that you can do there with the assignment, right? And so you would be able to see those things, right? But let's say you wanted to tweak certain settings. Let's say after you created the assignment and everything, you said, I don't want this out of 50. I wanted it out of 40. You could come and you could change the points. You can come in at any point in the settings of the assignment and change it. Although we recommend you don't do that after you publish it, because remember, once you've published it, the students can see it. So if you make changes after that, they'll see the changes, right? We recommend you keep it in draft until you're ready for the students to see it. And you make your tweaks and everything, and then you change it to published when you want them to be able to log in and see the assignment in there. So just a quick little note, and then you can hit save. Right. So that covers the second use case of assignments. Now let's do the third use case of the assignments. And the third use case would be the most advanced use case, which is creating the multiple choice advanced assignments, right? So once again, I'm in my subject, I'm in the classworks tab, I go to actions, I click create assignment, still for everybody, and I choose multiple choice questions, auto graded, right? And I call this one homework 2, I think, is where I'm at in numbers. That's out of 10 points, and let's just keep it published so students can see it immediately. Category is homework, choose a strand, maybe not our presentations. Poetry. Right, I come here and the due date for this, we already showed due date, so let's just leave this as the due date. We want to notify the students, we want to allow late submissions, we want to add it to the classwork bank, include it in the report card, and we have the option to randomize the questions that we create, but we'll leave that off for now, and we'll leave the hide score from students off for now, right? I can give it a name, I click create. This creates my advanced assignment, my multiple choice assignment. What you'll notice is the instruction tab. So for the simpler assignments, the instruction tab was very different. The instructions tab here for the advanced assignment gives me my advanced assignment builder. This is where I can create these advanced assignments. For quick reference, if I looked at the instructions tab for any of the simpler assignments I did, it's literally just a place to have the file and some information if I choose to add that information, right? So this is where it starts to get really powerful with what you can do. So I think it was homework 2. Yep, advanced assignment. We have the instructions tab here. You'll see a button here to add sections, so you can actually break your assignment into different sections if you wanted. And you have a button there to preview work, which will actually show you the questions that you created, right? You have a couple descriptors here for the section, but let's just call this section 1 MCQ, right? Description, answer the MCQ, well, MC questions. Okay, and gave it some descriptors. And now I want to add a question. So I click the add question button, and I have new question pop up here. I click on that, and that is my question body, right? If I click the pencil icon, I can start fleshing out what that question looks like. So I can give my question a title if I wanted to. I don't have to, right? I could literally just leave it as question 1, but I could also give it a name. So famous poets. Let me look up a poems by Edgar Allan Poe. Right. Let's see the name of. I mean, I knew the name, The Raven. So let's say, okay, so these are a list of his poems, right? We start building out our questions. So it looks like his. Oh, is this not in chronological order? Doesn't seem to be. All right, cool. The Raven is 1845. So I could make this is probably a really hard question at primary level. So ignore the fact that this is a grade 1 question. But I have the title here. So I could call it The Raven, right? For example, as a title. And let's say it's worth 1 point. My total assignment is worth 10. So let's say this one is worth 1. Put in the body of the question. When did Edgar Allan Poe write The Raven? Right? That's my question. And so I have the answer here. The answer is 1845. I come in here and the answer type is multiple choice. And for the first option, I'll put 1835. That's a wrong answer, so that's off. Second answer, I put 1845, right? Let me add another answer. I can click that button and let me put 1945. And let's just say those are my 3 answers for now. What I've done here is I've built out my multiple choice question. I have the question there, right? I have the title for the question. I definitely don't want it to be 0 points. I have the body of the question, so what's being asked, and I have the possible answers, right? And that's it. That's how you create a question. If I go to preview work, you'll see that the question is there and the students select one of the answers and it will be auto-graded once they submit the assignment, right? So we can exit out of that preview work tab to see and add more questions. So let's do another question type. That was just multiple choice. Let me say hopefully it only has, yeah, okay. It only has 1 poem called The Valley of Something. So let's do word answer, right? Rather than multiple choice. So here, I'll call this fill in the blanks. Complete the name of this poem by Edgar Allan Poe, right? And then we'll put a colon. What did I say I would use? The Valley of Unrest. Okay. The Valley of, and then maybe I just put that, right? And then what should the underlined word be, right? So I put that. In the answer type, I put keyword, right? And the only word that can go there is unrest, but they could be unrest as, capital U and common letters for everything else. Unrest like that, and maybe just, most likely how I would have entered the answer when I was a student, unrest, right? So these are the possible ways that you can type unrest. So this is a keyword answer. So any of these keywords that the student enters, that will be the correct answer because we just care about the word unrest, right? And if you're the type of teacher where you say, I don't want to accept all caps, or I don't want to accept a capitalized U, I'll only accept this, then sure, just remove whichever options you don't want. You choose what the keywords are. But we'll go ahead and we add in that question, and we can preview it now. So let's go to preview, and I have my question 1, which is multiple choice. I have my question 2, which, complete the name of this poem by Edgar Allan Poe, the value of underline. What should the underlying word be? The student can type unrest, right? And submit. So that's another question type in the advanced assignments. And we have a couple other different ways to tweak it. But before we do that, let's look at a slightly unique question type. So let's say you ask some multiple choice questions and you asked some keyword questions, but you still wanted a long answer, right? You can actually still add in what we call essay type questions, right? In which case you say, okay, I had this is a 10-point assignment. The total points so far are 3. So I had a 1-point multiple choice question. I had a 1-point fill in the blanks question. And then let's say the rest of my 8 points, the remaining 8 points are just complete the poem. I don't know how to do that. Let's just keep it lowercase for now, right? And then you start off the poem. Boy, I hope I can find one of the poems. Yeah, there we go. Once it smiled a silent dell. Okay. Complete the poem started here. Once it smiled a silent dell. All right. And that's the start of the question, right? I just put that in, and it's an essay type answer. And all the students are required on their part to go in, they're completing the poem. Once it smiled a silent dell, maybe, I think it would be really mean for a teacher to just put the first sentence. Hopefully you put in a little bit more, like maybe 2 or 3 lines of the poem. And then the student comes in and they have to fill out the rest, where the people did not dwell, where blah, 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 blah. They just fill it all out, right? And then they submit it, and that's worth 8 points. In that case, what the system would do, right, just to be clear, the essay type questions, it can't autograde because those are long form answers. Maybe when AI gets good enough, we'll incorporate a feature there where it can even give a suggestion for a grade for something like that, but we're not quite there yet. For now, what would happen is that the system would autograde question 1, the multiple choice, autograde question 2, the keyword type, right, where we gave it the specific possible answers. And then for question 3, the student would answer it, and then the teacher would go in and they'd see, okay, they got question 1 and question 2, right? Question 3, let the system, let me read their answer and let me give them a grade out of 8 points for that. And so that's how the system would calculate these bits, right? So those are some of the different types of questions. There's a little bit more that you can do here. So if I click on the pencil icon, we have question and question. You can actually upload an image file or, a short video, or maybe like some kind of audio clip for the question body itself. So the students listen or look at an image to answer a question. Let me see. Do we have pictures of Edgar Allan Poe? Edgar Allan Poe. Okay, we have this, right? So I'm going to download this. Save image as desktop EAP. Right? I'm going to save that image real quick. And I come over here, my question, and I say, let me adjust this question to not be 8 points. Let's say it's 6 points. Right? I'll come back over here and I say, all right, title, who is this? Right? That's worth 1 point, and I can say, identify the famous poet, right? And in the picture, I put a picture that I just downloaded of Mr. Poe. And so that's in the body of the question. I'm being lazy here, but Edgar Allan Poe. And point number 2 is me, right? We'll go over here and we'll go to preview work. When the student comes to the question, they have a picture of the poet and they have the options there and they choose who the person is. All right. Likewise, you could make a question. Let's just make it add up to 10 now. So we're at 9 points so far, where instead of the question body being an image, the answer is identify the poet. All right. Still worth 1 point. Which of these poets, or yeah, which of these photos are of Edgar Allan Poe? Right? And I come down here and in option 1, I put back my image, click done. And in option 2, boy, I don't have pictures of anybody else, so I'm going to do a picture of that assignment that we uploaded earlier. So let's just ignore answer number 2, right? So I go here, I can preview the work. I go to identify the poet, and you can see here are my options, right? So the students see this and they say, oh, option 1 is Edgar Allan Poe, and then they can submit, right? So there's a lot of flexibility to what the assignments can do. So as I said, you come in the system, you can build out your assignments, right? And once you've built them out, because you have them in the classwork bank, where's the classwork bank? There we go, add to classwork bank. Then as you come into subsequent school years, let's go to resource portal, classwork bank. You'll see that your subject is there. Grade work is there. You see homework 2 that I created just now, the advanced assignments. I think it's homework 2. I just pick it and pick which subject to assign it into and click clone, and it gets cloned into that subject as a draft. And so the students can go in. The teachers can go in, they can tweak the questions as they need, and then they can publish it and be available. So you make this one time and that's it. You're done. You can use it again in subsequent school years. The system will auto-grade the questions that are auto-graded, and then you just add in your grade for the essay type question. And the system handles a lot for you. So it's quite powerful. Let me see now if I can quickly open up a teacher account. I'm gonna have to do some log out and log back in shenanigans right now. So let me see if I can get that going for you guys. Let's log in. Who is the teacher for English? We can see it from a teacher's view. The English teacher is Kimberly Smith. Okay. Let me go over to the system and then generate an email for teacher and log out and log back in. All right. And now I'm going to okay, let me pull this up here. So I'll log back in as this demo teacher, Miss Smith, and you can see her home dashboard's just a little different. So you'll see that things relevant for her classroom, right? There is a feed that she can track. So she create internal assignment, internal admin. So my other admin account created the assignment. So it says that. But generally speaking, if you're the teacher, you create the assignment, it will say you created an assignment for this subject, right? I can quickly navigate to classwork from my home dashboard. So I can see any upcoming classwork. I can see anything that was due already or any future days. And yeah, pretty much just upcoming stuff, actually. All right, and I can get some quick insights as to what the performance is like for any subjects that I teach. I can go to classes and I can see the subjects that I teach. Let me go into my classwork and it looks the same, where I can go quickly into any assignment that I created and I can see the grades, and I can start grading things. Which one was the okay, yeah, this one was my MCQ. If I did start grading, I see that okay, this student didn't submit anything yet, so I can't really see anything against them right now. Let me just okay, right? So now that kind of shows me what it looks like from a teacher view, but I can add in the feedback after. This is an advanced assignment, so it's after the student submits work, and I can give comments and stuff like that, right? So now let's do, I don't know if I've configured any students for this demo. But let's quickly take a glance and who are the students in this subject. Stop grading. Jack Galahad. Okay, let me see if I can log in quickly as Mr. Galahad. I don't know that he's configured. So this is, well, don't hold me to this. I'm going to try and quickly configure a student so I can show this. So let me, where is he? So I need to go here. Okay. Yeah, I'm doing this all in real time. So just so you know, it's taking me a second to do these things because you're seeing everything happen in real time. It's not like we're doing a demo where we just had a bunch of things configured. I built the assignment in front of you guys. I'm going to come here and I'm going to try and get in as a student in front of you guys. And so you're seeing everything in real time, right? Okay. So let's come back up here. Should still be seeing my screen. So I'm here now logged in as the student. So this student is logged in and I guess he has some attendance there and has some assignments with grades recorded. So you're seeing a number here. So Jack can go to classwork and he can see assignments and he can see upcoming assignments that he needs to submit, right? So let's go first. Did I create this one just now? Right. So if it's an assignment where oh, it was already due. I can't remember oh no, it's because I added a grade in for him already, right? So this is one of them is an assignment. Yeah, there we go. If I wanted to view the assignment where I uploaded a file, this is how it looks for Jack. So he logs in and he sees that file that was uploaded. He can download the file if he needs to, and then he can upload back his response. But because I actually added in a grade for this already, it registered I submitted, just for our demo purposes. So let's go to this other one, classwork 1. Let's say that in classwork 1, we did not grade in, so it's not submitted. Jack, let's assume that there was a file for that one too, and he viewed the file, or maybe he gave the assignment in class, maybe he wrote it on the board, right? And so they know what the assignment is, but you're allowing them to upload a response. So they would come here. I'm just going to reuse one of my files. So upload file. I'm going to choose my file and I'm just going to choose something here, right? I'm going to upload that. That will work because it's not a doc or anything. It's a JPEG. But let's test it out, right? He uploaded his file for his response, and he said, "I'm done. Submit work." Right? So Jack's work is submitted. It's in here. He doesn't have a grade or anything yet because he just submitted his response, right? That's a doc file. Let's go back over to the advanced assignment. So you see he's already submitted it, so it's checked off here. Now the advanced assignment, let's let him start, okay? So this is what Jack is seeing. Jack is seeing the question here. He says, okay, Raven, when did Edgar Allan Poe write the Raven? So let's do this one correct and submit that. What should the underlined word be? Let's put in an incorrect word. The value of happiness, right? And he submitted the wrong word. Complete the poem started here, right? This is his long answer, 6.1. Blah. Let's just type something really quickly. All right, just type something. He submitted, but let's assume he typed the correct poem for argument's sake, right? Submit that. Who is this? It's Edgar Allan Poe. Submit that. Which of these is Edgar Allan Poe? Let's submit that. All right. So he's now submitted and he answered everything. And so I see that he can submit his work finally. And he so far has a 3 out of 10. So that's where that option to hide grade from students becomes relevant because I had it turned off. So he's seeing that so far he has a 3 out of 10 because you haven't gone and graded his essay answer yet. But if you had it off, then he just wouldn't see anything there, right? So the student can review their work and they can see what they put in. They can say, oh, I got this one wrong. And this one, I don't have a grade for it yet because, the teacher didn't yet grade it. So currently it's not being considered. But I answered these questions right. And And so that's, my summary. Now, let me log back in as the teacher. Okay, I'll just log back in as the admin because I generated a password for the teacher, but I kind of lost it. So let's go back into the subject. So the teacher would be the same kind of thing. They'd go back into the subject and they go to the assignment. So we have two assignments here. We have classwork 3, where my students submitted something. So let me actually get Jack Galahad is who I did it as. So let me do Jack Galahad. Is it Jack Galahad? I think I did it as Jack Galahad, but I don't remember if I did it for this assignment. Oh no, I didn't do it for this assignment because I already have grades for this assignment. So let's go over to the other assignments. Password 2 maybe? I go to Jack. Let's start grading. Okay, I can't remember which assignment I actually uploaded something for him. But whichever one I uploaded something for him, his upload should be there. Right? As long as I hit the submit button, I believe I did. Wouldn't have been past assignments. So let's check this one. Oh, this one has a, oh, he submitted this one and doesn't have a grade. Maybe it's this one. Yeah, it's this one. So you can see he submitted a response. Actually, that's what this was showing. My bad. So if I go over here to classwork 1, I can see that Jack has submitted the assignment, so it's checked off. He submitted a response, but there's no grade yet, so I didn't grade it, right? So I can come here, I can click on the little eye icon, and I can see, okay, this was his response. I was lazy, so I just uploaded the picture, but this is his upload of our response, right? So I can see that, and I can add my stickers, and I can give him feedback, and I can do some comments, and whatever I need to do. Alternatively, let's go to the advanced assignment now. So let me go back. We're in classwork. Go to classwork 3. That's the advanced assignment. We see that Jack submitted. Was it this one? No, it wasn't this one. It was homework 2. Homework 2. We can go here. We can see that Jack submitted his response, right, just a couple minutes ago. And so far he has a 3 out of 10. I can hit start grading. I can see Jack's assignments. I can see he completed it 5 out of 5. He answered the first one correct. He answered the second one incorrect. If I wanted to, I could override the score, right? Like that option is there. I could give him the 1 point. But I'm not going to do that in this case. Here, I see his complete the poem, and now I read his poem and I say, yeah, man, he completed the poem, but he forgot like 3 lines. So let's say he got 5 out of 6. So I update that, and then his score will update. We go back here. So previously, I think he had 3 out of 10. Now his grade is 8 out of 10, and I can hit stop grading, and you can see his grade is updated, and that's the advanced assignment, right? So you can do a lot with these assignments. We're at time now, so I'm of course going to go over to the questions, but hopefully everybody following along can see everything you can do. As I mentioned, it's a lot, right? In the beginning, I expect what you'll be doing is that simplest version of assignment generation, where you just create the assignment, and you just, you do your assignments however you do day to day, and you're recording the grades in SmartTerm. The beauty of it is when you come to report period, all the calculations and everything will be handled for you. So if I come to my report card and look at my final grade for English grade 1, I see that Jack's score is not doing too badly, right? His grades are tallying up, and I'm creating assignments of different types and whatnot, so I can see his grade in real time. Alternatively, I can come to the gradebook. I can go to English grade A, and I can see that, okay, Jack's not doing bad, but there's still a couple of assignments that he doesn't have grades for. Maybe I have to grade it and not in the grade, whatever it is, right? And you can see when I click edit grades, you can see the auto graded one. So you see that homework assignment we just created together on this call, and his auto graded grade is 8, right? So just like that, you'll get a feel of the system, you'll create assignments, and You'll be able to, as I mentioned, add them to the resource portal so you can follow along with things and reuse assignments in future years and tweak them if you need to, don't tweak them if you don't need to. But you get a lot of functionality, and we're excited to get your teachers to the point where they're using this assignment tool. Depending on how tech savvy they are, some of them may have to rewatch this video a couple times, some of them may not, but we know that everybody will get there, and we're hoping we get to a spot where everybody's using these advanced assignments in the future because it will save our teachers a lot of time. Right? So that covers the assignment generation. I will talk about some of the other features of the classroom and the subjects tomorrow. Quick